Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I am in love with Three Pines, and I really appreciate you giving us your time to talk about it. But before we do, I want to know a little bit about you.
Of course. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me. So I'm originally from a tiny town called Ormstown, which is about an hour southwest of Montreal. So very close to where we shot the series, actually. Some locations were about 20 minutes away. And I fell in love with performing in high school when they started an arts program. I got cast as the lead in the play and I just fell in love. So I decided to study theater at Dawson College. I did a 3 year professional theater program and it was wonderful. I learned not only, acting and all the classics, but I also learned how to put on a show and run a show and, very beneficial things that you need later on in your career. And then once I graduated from theater school, I was on a French soap opera for a couple of years. Also did some English shows in Montreal, continued on to Toronto, then Los Angeles, and actually we moved home during the pandemic. And that's when I got the role on Three Pines.
It all works out, huh?
It all works out. Yeah.
Well, I also read that you have done a good amount of stage work. I saw that you were in Blackbird, which is pretty awesome.
Yes, I love that play. What a great script.
Definitely. Well, and I just had to point out that I read that you may or may not have worked at Universal Studios in a unique position that I thought you might want to share.
Yeah, it was actually one of my favorite side jobs that I've had in my career. When me and my husband moved to Los Angeles, it's, a whole other world down there. You have to restart your career in some aspects. So I met this wonderful friend of mine, Brittany, who I was teaching fitness with. And she said, you would be perfect for this live stunt show that she had been performing for years. So next time they had auditions, I made sure to, go try out. And I got the part. And I did that show for 3.5 years. It was wonderful. I performed up to 5 shows a day in front of 3,000 people per show. So I got a lot of exposure. It was outside in the sun, and I got to drive boats and zip line and drive through fire and beat up dudes all day. It was great. It was a really fun job.
Yeah, as an actor, you kind of have to be able to do a lot of different things before you get a great series that takes care of the bills for a while.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to dabble in a lot of different aspects. But what was fun is, sometimes throughout my career, I've done many jobs that were not really, in the world of entertainment. So this one was very beneficial because not only did I get to pay my bills, but I got to really grow as a performer in a completely different aspect that I don't think I would have been able to explore if I was just strictly doing film and television.
That is awesome. It's really
Yeah.
fun. When I read about it, I just had to ask you because it
Oh my
sounds
gosh.
cool.
Yeah, no, it's I'm still friends with a lot of the cast and they are just rocking so many cool jobs. I get to hear about all their adventures on set in a very different way because they're all performing these amazing stunts for like Marvel movies and it's just so cool to be like, that's my friend.
Very groovy.
Yeah.
Well, to the show of point, two pines,
Mhm.
three pines, excuse me. I missed a pine, three pines. Let's get it clear. Three pines.
Yes.
But what I had wanted to start with is we're only a couple of episodes in. And I must say that I was terrified that at first it didn't look like there were more episodes coming. And
Mhm.
I thought you guys were leaving us at that point. And I was very relieved when IMDb showed a third episode
Yes.
coming. And so that I think is why I said two episodes. It left us hanging. And I
Yeah,
was
you
like,
were like,
no,
no, where's
wait,
the
you're not
rest?
going to leave us there. But I wanted to speak to the fact that there is kind of an overarching story,
Mhm.
which is the story about the the Indigenous women, and that's a real story about
Yes.
them not being sought, and they should be. And then this sort of Hercule Poirot type mystery, and now that they're showing a lot more of the teaser trailers, it looks like there might even be more than one of those, and I don't know, even a little Twin Peaks hint there. So
Totally.
I want you to share as much as you're allowed, because I
Sure.
can't wait for Friday. So go.
I know. Me too. Honestly, here, let me grab a sip of water before I tell you all about it. So basically what's happening is the series, the first season, fingers crossed for season two, right, is 8 episodes. So you're going to get kind of like a murder of the week every week, which are the I don't know if I'm allowed to say what books they are, so I won't. But so every week you get a Louise Penny murder, and then the overarching storyline is the missing and murdered Indigenous women. And that has been such an important story. I feel we should tell, especially in Canada. There has been a lot of discoveries in the past few years. And I think a lot of people weren't aware of what was going on because it wasn't getting the proper media coverage that it should get. So I think this specific story in Three Pines is fictional, but it's inspired by so many countless stories that have and cases that have happened in Canada.
Absolutely. It's been coming to more notice here in the United States as well, and absolutely also not gotten the notice that it should have before. And I'm really appreciating the storyline there, and it's compelling story as well. So not wanting to ruin it for someone who hasn't watched it yet, but it did leave it at a cliffhanger at the end of episode 2. Heartbreaking one. And it could have been like left it there and it been like, now you have to carry that on your soul. So I'm glad for episode 3.
Yes.
But let's talk about Sarah. Let's talk about your character, who is not so dumb, though she kind of gets misread, but
Totally.
Alfred Molina sees something very special in her. And so how did you approach her? What do you feel playing her? And I think she's probably a lot of fun to play, but talk about her, because I think she's probably pivotal.
She is a wonderful character. I love playing her. I just basically get to play all day, try things. I listen to my instincts a lot when I'm on set, especially physically, just really reacting to whatever's around me. Especially when I'm in scenes with Jean-Guy, pretty much, my main motivation kind of in the back of my head is how can I get under his skin in this scene? So that's just such a fun, job to have. And she's quite different than the books, which is very interesting as well. In the books, she's a little bit more negative. She takes some advice, but then makes it her own. She's a little bit more hard-headed, I feel, in the book series, but I feel like in the series on Prime, she's a little bit more, has like a puppy energy to her. She wants to please, she's eager, she has a very unique scent, I think. She will be, I think, helping out with some cases in a more unusual way than we're used to seeing on television. And I think that's what Gamache really sees in her, is potential. He's also someone that doesn't solve crimes in your usual way. He gets really deep into people's psychology. The why they did it is very interesting to him. So I feel like she definitely will learn a lot of those traits from him and learn that it's okay to do things in your unique way, because you might figure something out that was not obvious to, the average detective.
I definitely saw that. And I also liked when he turned to I'm sorry, I forgot the character's name, the one that you get under his skin, and said,
oh, Jean-Guy.
Yes. And he's like, I remember when I was training you.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that. I love that moment because he's saying like, oh man, she's just a disaster. And it's a good reminder to him that you were once a rookie, you once didn't know all the answers. So yeah, I really like that moment.
Yeah, and I think that, not knowing the books, but I think for me, the innocence and or maybe the genuineness that she brings to the cases is a nice quality, in that they're otherwise so dark. What
Yes. Yeah, you need that break sometimes in those scenes, because we're talking about murder every week. It's some heavy stuff. We're talking about people's like psychological issues that these murders are just written so well by Louise. They just go so deep, and there's so many layers to the onion, and they also go off into so many different directions in the books as well. You'll trail off with one suspect for quite a while and realize, oh no, it wasn't him. So you're kind of feeling what the detectives are going through as well when you read the books. And that's one aspect that I really enjoyed. I am on book number 8 right now. So whenever I'm lonely, I listen to my Three Pines audiobook. But yeah, just being able to, I guess, really the playful aspect for me is the funnest part about her. She is, I don't know, she just has, I get to play her, like you said, in a very genuine way. I don't try to be funny. I just try to take her really seriously. And I think that works.
I think if you tried to play her funny, it probably wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, my first audition for her, I received the materials, saw who was making the series, and I said, there's no way I'm going to get this job. They're probably going to hire a name, or, I just thought it was kind of out of my reach. So I really did the audition for me. And I also knew the casting director very well. So I really just did it to like entertain her. And it ended up getting me some attention because they asked me to redo the audition. They were like, we love the character, just like take it down. So I was like, okay, and that's what I did, and we found middle ground with her, and it worked out.
That's really wonderful to hear. Well, it
Mm-hmm.
just goes to show you that never waste an opportunity that you're given, and never write it off, right?
Absolutely. And, if you feel like it might not be for you, or it might be out of your reach, you never know. Don't make someone's decision for you.
True, very true. I
Yeah.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing that. That's a really great story. Well, we're going into the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any special plans?
I do actually. I'm going to be sticking around the area here, just visiting with friends. I've had a busy couple of years, and this time last year we were still in production on the show. So my Christmas was a little bit, I finished working and it was Christmas all of a sudden. So it's kind of nice to have a holiday season. And after the holidays, I'll be heading down to Los Angeles because it's been a while I haven't been there, and I miss my people. So I'm gonna go visit some palm trees, which will be very nice.
Awesome. Well, I wish you a wonderful holiday.